All right, so today for playfulness, let's do this thing where we tell a funny story. It's not something we're unfamiliar with. Think of a funny story. Think of something that made you laugh. It could be your story. It could be a story of somebody else's. But then let's work with it some too, because about the funny story. I feel like we could start, certainly there's a way we should share our funny stories. Wouldn't it be great? I was thinking I was going to just start like a Facebook group with only funny stories, you know, so that when you needed it, you could just go to this group and read a funny story. But I think that not only is this playful because it's something that's a little more familiar. That is how we generally do relate with playfulness as adults, is by telling a funny story. Or maybe you're just an introverted person and you don't tell funny stories often, or maybe it's only with your close friends, but it is more familiar. But then taking this more familiar way that we are playful or are used to being playful as adults, and kids. I mean, kids tell funny stories too, so I'm not just saying, you know, kids tell plenty of funny stories. They're great. So taking this and taking a look at it, realizing what's playful in it. What makes a story funny? What really makes a story funny? To me, I can narrow it down to maybe 3 important things. One, it could be just like, oh my God, that's so true. That's so human. That's why I'm laughing, because it's so true. We all have that happen. It's so human. And then another layer that's like highly related to that is so vulnerable. Just exceptional vulnerability. And that's how we can see it's so true. I mean, that is so human because it's so vulnerable. Oh my gosh, you just told a story. People say embarrassing stories, but like, let's let that go, because it doesn't really, I mean, we're mature enough to realize that nothing can really be embarrassing, or, I mean, it can. I know that's a real feeling. People feel embarrassing, shameful, whatever, but on the whole, as, you know, in the bigger picture, can something really be that embarrassing? Especially if it's so true. Because these things that are so true, these extreme vulnerabilities that we share, like, wow, this is what happened to me. And oh my gosh, I peed my pants and I didn't mean to. And it was because I was holding it for too long in this long car ride. And oh my God, then on top of that, my neighbors came outside to meet me as soon as I pulled in, and I'm sitting here in a puddle of piss, you know, whatever. But it's a funny story because it's an extreme vulnerability. You're sharing something that, you know, was a real truth that you went through, and that, yeah, it means that you've got to really be open. It means you got to really be comfortable with yourself. To let it out, because so many times there's like fears or social embarrassment or whatever. So that is the other category of funny story. And then the last category is maybe the unexpected, or some combination of all of them, because most of the funny stories have some combination of all of them. Because the unexpected, like, oh my God, and then my neighbors rolled up, or my neighbors pulled in at the same time I did, or came rushing out to meet me, and here I was in pee. Like the unexpected, the twist, everything got flipped to what I was hoping would happen or expecting would happen. And so then that also makes for a funny story. So anyway, think of a funny story. Think of, and share. So this one's not just like think of one, but think of one and share it. That is the part of it. You share it with somebody. Share it with somebody that you probably wouldn't normally share it with. Share it with somebody that you want closeness with. Let's say it's your kids and you usually tell them funny stories, but you thought of one that you didn't tell them. Or dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper for a little extra funniness. Like, a lot of times we'll think of stories that are just like, that was kind of a funny story, like odd, or, but I mean, dig deeper, because the further you dig into vulnerability, The further you dig into human moments, like, oh my gosh, that's so true. The further you get comfortable with yourself and really put yourself out there, expose yourself, because that's the vulnerability part. Or the further you explore the unexpected, that's when things get even funnier. It's even more enjoyable of a funny story, playful, even if it's not roll on the floor laughing, but usually it is. There's going to be some chuckle at least. It's still playful. It's still playful to dig in those spots and to share from those spots with each other, to listen to somebody from those places and to share. So definitely share with somebody, partner, whatever, somebody that you need to share stuff with, somebody that you haven't laughed with in a while, somebody that you haven't even reached the point of playfulness with yet because you guys aren't that close, whatever. Do that, share that. And then I am definitely going to get on top of making a little Facebook group or something that's just about funny stories, a little private offshoot group that we can jump in and just share funny stories, because it's so great and you can go read them when you need them.